This presentation is to demonstrate the use of X12 SNIP validation as well as creating a fully functional X12 mapping in a single DTL. We'll be processing the same X12 message for both of the SNIP validation tests. This message has two errors in it. The name field is too long and the gender field is the letter K and is not a valid code. This interface consists of an X12 file service, an X12 routing engine, the X12 file operation, and an X12 ACK operation for validation errors. We'll set our validation mode to none so that none of the SNIP errors will be caught and the message should pass through without creating a 999 acknowledgement. The message processes to our outbound folder, and if we look at the message trace, we can see that the message came in with indeed the errors that were identified earlier, and processed into an interchange message into a functional group, and there's the transaction set intact and as an 837 message. Now, if we change our configuration so that the validation mode is now set to SNIP and confirm our SNIP level is set to 2 and apply that change, we should be able to create an acknowledgement message with the SNIP level errors in it. And it should go into our acknowledgement folder down at the bottom right. Now, if we look at how that message processed, we'll see the message came in, it's the same as before with the errors in the message, in the format. And now it does create an interchange message and a group, a functional group, but now it contains a 999 acknowledgement error, showing that the error code 5 for the length of the field is too long and error code 7 for the incorrect code. Now we're going to create the X12 DTL. I've started with a simple create new transform, which is used using the 5010 interchange of an 837P as a source and target. We'll start with dragging and dropping the ISA segment. And then we're going to create a group for our functional group. Let's just call it GS functional group. This will keep us organized. Now, using the functional group segment in our source column, we're going to create a for each action. Let's change this key to FG key. We will also use the new unload feature that allows you to unload or unswizzle the memory at the end of it in each loop. Now, by highlighting the target column's functional groups, we'll add a set action. Then, using the magnifying glass to search for the new X12 functions, let's look for the function called X12 new functional group. And as the name suggests, it's used to create a new functional group in the target message. Interchange parent will simply be target, and doc type is group. Then we'll drag and drop the GS segment from source to target. Then create a group for our transaction sets. We'll call this ST transaction sets. And again, we'll add a for each for the source transaction sets. And we'll check the unload to free the memory on each loop. Now, by highlighting the target column's transaction sets, we'll add a set action. And again, we'll use the magnifying glass to search for new X12 functions. But now we'll use the X12 transaction set. Interchange parent will be set to target functional groups FG key, and doc type is going to be set to 837P. Now we can drag and drop the remaining segments and loops from source to target. Obviously, you may have more detailed mappings to do within these loops, but for now we're going to keep the mappings fairly simple just to explain how the new features make mapping much more straightforward. Notice I do not drag and drop the SEGE or IEA segments, but we will need to close each of these segments off with our new functions. We'll start by closing out the trailer of the transaction set since it's the innermost loop. This will be an entry just before the end of the for each of the transaction set and end of the ST transaction sets group. The function we'll use is X12 complete trailer and return clear. And really all you need to know is that the X12 document structure that you're closing. So in this case, it's the transaction set. But we'll need to close our functional group as well as the interchange. So really you're closing each structure within the map, meaning the interchange, the functional groups, and the transaction set. The functional group, this is the same. We will close the target functional group's FG key. However, closing the interchange is really closing out the entire message. So our property will just be a temporary variable when we close the interchange. And we'll specify the X12 document as target. Now we can compile the DTL and run a quick test to make sure everything's working as expected. As you can see, we've created the interchange, the functional groups, and the transaction set for the 837s.